Microsoft publishes new inclusion guide for video game devs. Recommends against creating female characters with exaggerated body proportions. How dare you? Yep, it's going to be that one of those, everybody. Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to the GNRO Minicast. I'm your host, Adam Mickelson, aka Drak. I hope everybody's having an awesome day or night when you're listening to this. And we're once again taking another story from boundingintocomics.com. And this is Spencer McCooley once again covering the situation with Microsoft. So let's jump right in. In doing their part to push the entire medium even further towards a final form as a pile of boring and uninspired mush, Microsoft has released a new product inclusion guide for video game developers, which, in addition to a number of other such recommendations aimed at appeasing the terminally online, notably suggests that creators completely abstain from depicting any sexualized or unrealistic female characters within their works. No, they want Abby from The Last of Us all over again. Abby Cena for everyone, except unlike Johnny Boy, you can see her. And isn't that just the crying shame? Made public on March 20th as part of the company's appearance at the recent 2024 Game Developers Conference, you know, where all of the game developers decided to go outside and yell at the sky. Yeah, that was really professional looking. Microsoft's new Gaming for Every product inclusion framework calls on developers to actively consider 4 specific areas when creating a new title, those being, as per the framework's official website, here we go, everybody. Approachability, which ensures all players, existing and new, experienced and novice, feel safe and welcome. Translation, no more hard modes. You're not allowed to make them ever again. Representation. It's about reflecting the diversity of the player and creator community so everyone can feel that they belong. And by that, we mean a bunch of terminally online, vocal minority people get to have body type A and body type B. Oh, did they not buy the game? Did they not pay $70 like everybody else did? Oh, okay. Well, I guess Microsoft's still making you do that. Globalization is about making global players feel at home and ensuring that their experience has local relevance and respect. In other words, we want that China money. I don't need to add anything to that, everybody. That's what it is. They want to be able to put this in China, and so in order to be able to do that, they just decided everybody gets to suffer. And accessibility is about making games and experiences playable for people with disabilities and striving to make products accessible by design from the ground up. You're already doing that, so I'll give you a prop there because we now have the disabled controllers, and I think that was actually a great idea. I don't know why it's through the 3 other horribly bad ideas, but all right, Microsoft, let's keep going. In service of promoting these values, Microsoft also released a product inclusion action guide. Oh, that's going to be even better for developers to follow in order to keep their titles sufficiently progressive and unoffensive. PC as fuck. Having your story told is a universal human need, but for many in marginalized communities or in markets outside of the US, it's rare to be represented in media, let alone games, especially if you're a white male these days. And as a result, some people could feel like a secondary consumer for our content, even though they're not buying it. Writes the Xbox parent company, 80% of media consumed by the world is created in the US, and yet most media, I don't even know if that's actually accurate, because I don't think that accounts for the fact that anime is kicking comics ass as well as TV's ass. I don't think that's accurate. Most media, including video games, don't contain characters and content that align to that broad consumer. Then they can get the fuck over it, because that's what video games do. A really good video game with a really good story challenges that perception and actually gets you to think outside of that box, maybe even that cyclical thinking, and to break from it. Oops, did I say it out loud? To this end, Microsoft then presents developers with a set of 10 questions to consider when it came to their projects in order to ensure they were properly inclusive. Oh, these are going to be great, aren't they? Are you telling new stories or sharing new perspectives with the product within the product experience? No! You can tell an existing experience in a different way. It's totally fine. Do all of your characters, players, depictions look the same? I love that. This is basically video games promoting racism? And by that, I mean like segregationist racism, you know, all the way that all the terminally online people want it. What steps have you taken to ensure characters are represented respectfully and authentically? By making them soulless, hollow husks. Why would you want a character that actually has a backstory and has something to relate to and to look forward to when they succeed in it? Nope. We want characters that are entirely defined by their skin color, by their hair, by their regenerative organs, but no, that's by their reproductive organs, and more importantly, who gets to see those reproductive organs in the bedroom. How have you validated assumptions you have made about your audience to check for blind spot? No, I'm not even going there, because I would fire a writer who asked that bullshit. If they were in my writer's room, I'd be like, get the fuck out. Would you feel proud to show a member of the community how? No, because I wouldn't be catering to those communities, because those communities need to fix a lot more problems within than they have without. How are the wide range of customers depicted within your products? They aren't. What process have you used to validate how different groups or peoples of cultures, they're not represented, because all you're doing is representing hollow husks. There's nothing to relate to. There's no reason to consider validation. What % of screen time? Oh, good God, it's Hollywood bullshit all over again. Do you have a process to review key decisions within the... Nope. Because all they have to do is go to HR and complain. And then we'll find out through a Kotaku article. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not writing news anymore. We'll find out through an article that they're an oppressive work environment. Are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? Absolutely. Because we have to depict men in horrible lights, especially white men. In expanding on this last question, Microsoft presented 3 additional sub-questions for devs to consider. By the way, if you're a video game developer and you consider any of these 10 questions without basically sending a middle finger emoji to Microsoft, because I'm pretty sure that you'd be able to be welcomed within the indie gaming community, you're doing it wrong as far as I'm concerned. For devs to consider, particularly in regards to their female character designs. Love it. Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers? Yes. Why? Because fuck white men, that's why. Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to the... No, because white males cannot be anywhere near their power scale. When the story allows, do you show male characters who display a full range of emotions, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability? Bullshit. I do think that you can show these, but the way that they want to show them is that you want sissy boys. That's what you want. And unfortunately, a lot of guys who play games, you know, myself included, we actually like well-built characters. And yeah, I do mean the female curves, but I do mean well-built foundationally in their writing, and that doesn't allow. It should be noted that while Microsoft did cite 4 studies regarding representation, oh yes, cite university studies, I'm sure that that'll get somewhere, in support of their arguments, all of them are extremely flawed in their methodologies, as they usually are. Though the Diamond Lobby study claims that there is a stark lack of diversity in the overall gaming sphere, its findings are based solely on the surface level look at the 10 highest selling games between 2017 and 2021. Is that all of gamers? Please let me know in the comments down below whether or not you think that's all gamers. Because, spoiler, it isn't. Further, not only does the report fail to specify by which metric they determined the highest selling games, amount of money pulled in, amount of units sold, but it does not name any of the specific titles outside of Apex Legends, which it put forth as the most diverse video game. Well, that shows everything that you need to know. Avoid Apex Legends like the fucking plague that were looked at. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, most of these studies actually have also done the horrific thing of basically calling average everyday soccer moms who play nothing but Candy Crush or teenagers who play nothing but Fortnite as being part of that demographic. And frankly, you're not. There is a demographic that you are, which is what I would call casual gamers or surface level gamers, where you play the one game and you don't really explore outside of that, but then you get further in and then you get to see what gaming can actually provide for you. And most people don't even get that far. Then there's the Gina Davis study, published in 2021. The study not only takes particular issue with the long disproven idea that video games can directly inspire an individual to real world violence, but it's also extremely disingenuous in making its arguments. Most of them are. They have been for decades. I mean, for crying out loud, if it wasn't the Gina Davis study, it'd be another study that Jack Thompson brought on Fox News or wherever, saying how gamers were violent serial killers. They've never been accurate. For example, in support of the study's claim that gaming communities are rife with identity-based prejudice, harassment, and bullying that are ultimately harmful to boys and young men. Do you want to know where that's happening from? Like, the people that are doing that? I actually did see a study on this, and I'll see if I could track it down. It was actually basically saying that the same terminally online people were the ones who were harassing the boys and young men. And I laughed at that especially. It's probably still 100% inaccurate, but you know what? I'll give it that point. The Gina Davis Institute cites such facts as streamers use some variation of the ableist language, crazy in 1 in 5 gameplay segments. So you're taking "dude, that's crazy" into consideration? Yeah, no, I wouldn't even come close to doing that. And nearly 1 in 4, 23.7% male characters express anger because they're probably dealing with a story-related situation that makes them angry. I love the designations here. This is why these studies can't be trusted. As for the 2 News Zoo studies, their results are called into question by the fact that not only is its information based entirely on self-responses, or the fact that nobody is actually answering the questions when they're being asked. Like, that's the other part about some of these surveys, is a lot of them have not even been able to get responses unless they're straight up paying the gamers to come up and do it, because I've seen plenty of these in my college life where they just try to go out to a corner and ask, "Are you a gamer? Do you mind answering these questions?" And most of the time it's just like, "Nah, I'm too busy, sorry." So they just start filling it in for them. Yeah, that's ethical. Look no further than the fact that in their 2022 report, as produced in partnership with the Anti-Defamation League, speaking of another sweet baby supporter, the organization claims that roughly 12% of respondents reported that they had been on the receiving end of a swatting call. That is nowhere near accurate. I would say 5 to 7% probably. Swatting is something that still shouldn't happen, but it's still not that active. It's still not 10% of the population that they're talking to. But I mean, we're talking the Anti-Defamation League, whose numbers have always been fudgy at best. In the report, the ADL and Newzoo assert that their information is based on a nationally representative sample of nearly 100 million American adult gamers. I will guarantee you they didn't even get a quarter of that. If they got a quarter, I'd take them all out to dinner right now, but I'm guaranteeing you it wasn't that much. They are fudging those numbers hard. And that's not even counting their teenage respondents, which you shouldn't have even been responding to. They are minors. You're not supposed to be doing that with them. Meaning, should one follow their information to its presented conclusion, means that at least 19,400,000 players in the US had experienced this phenomena. Wow, if that many people had actually experienced this phenomena, we'd probably be looking at legislation for it. Not likely, but we probably would have been looking at legislation for it at that given moment. At least like 1 or 2 congressmen might have presented something. However, as they admitted at the end of their report, their information truly only represents the 2,134 Americans who play games across PC, console, and mobile platforms that they actually sampled. Oh, yep, that's the number I was thinking. It could be nowhere near 19 million. It had to be in the 4 digits right there. As of writing, which devs will inevitably use Microsoft's guide as an actual reference document remains to be seen. Good job on this one, Spencer. You were able to get in some good information as well as some nice quips. I'll give you some credits there. My thoughts are, Microsoft, you should be ashamed of yourself in so many different ways, but you should really be ashamed of yourselves, because while you're toting these guidelines, you're charging for everything that you can possibly charge for. I mean, Diablo 4 already had way too many problems. I'm hearing about issues with Call of Duty once again, overcharging for skins or whatnot. This is just despicable behavior, but something that I've come to expect from AAA, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. But frankly, you're not gonna be, so I'm not even gonna waste my breath on that. As far as the devs who might be looking at this and going, oh crap, we have to actually follow these, don't. See what happens, because if your game is successful and you didn't follow those guidelines, I don't think Uncle Phil's gonna give a damn, because you brought money in, and that's all that matters. See, marketers care, but only when it brings in money. That's all that matters in that regard. So at that point, continue to make your games. And if Microsoft wants to harp on you, take it to Steam. I'm pretty sure Steam would bring you on and you'd get a welcome reception from the indie gaming community and you wouldn't have to worry about it. So Microsoft, you can kiss my ass on this one. Women can look however they want. And frankly, everything that you're putting out here for inclusivity isn't going to be inclusive. And that's my opinion on that. What did you guys think? Make sure to leave a comment down below. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure that stuff out. If you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help with the YouTube algorithms and whatnot. And maybe I get high enough and Uncle Phil might actually have to take notice of me. Huh, that might be an interesting interview, wouldn't it? Because unlike most people that interview him, I'd actually ask hard questions. And that's going to go ahead and do it for this GNRO Minicast. Until the next time, my friends, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.